The little leopard sat by the river, his monk's robe as still as the stones around him. To anyone passing by, he looked like he had found all the answers. But inside, his heart was a storm. He realized that wearing a robe doesn't make you a master, and sitting still doesn't mean you are at peace. He watched the water swirling around the rocks and felt a deep, quiet hunger in his soul. It was a longing for something he couldn't name, a clarity he had never truly touched. He knew that for too long, he had been wandering in circles, lost in the thickets of his own wandering thoughts. He stood up, his teal eyes reflecting the vastness of the mountains. He decided that he would no longer wait for peace to find him. He would go and find the ox, that ancient symbol of the wild, untamed mind that holds the key to our true nature. The path was not easy. The mountains grew steeper, and the air grew thin and cold. The little leopard pushed through tangled vines and waded through icy streams that numbed his paws. Many times, he wanted to turn back. He saw many paths, some leading to dark caves of fear, others to bright meadows of distraction. But he stayed focused. Then, in a patch of soft, wet clay near a hidden waterfall, he saw it, a footprint. Large, heavy, and unmistakably powerful. It was the track of the ox. A thrill ran through his fur. He wasn't just imagining this. The goal was real. He knelt down, touching the edge of the print, realizing that even though he couldn't see the ox yet, he was already connected to it. The search was no longer a dream. It was a conversation between him and the wilderness of his own heart. As the sun reached its highest point, casting long, sharp shadows across the valley, the little leopard finally saw a flash of movement behind a massive ancient oak tree. There it was. The ox. It was magnificent. Its hide was the color of the midnight sky, and its horns seemed to touch the clouds. But it was wild. As soon as the little leopard approached, the ox bolted, crashing through the underbrush with terrifying strength. The little leopard did not run away. He unrolled a simple hemp rope, his hands steady despite the pounding in his chest. He realized that the mind is like this beast, powerful, stubborn, and afraid of being caught. The encounter was a collision of two worlds. As the little leopard threw his rope, the ox exploded into motion. It wasn't a fight of claws and teeth, but a battle of wills. The ox pulled with the strength of a mountain, dragging the little leopard through the dust and the thorns. It wanted to run back into the dark woods of habit, to hide in the caves of old fears. The little leopard dug his paws into the earth, his robe tattered, his breath coming in ragged gasps. He didn't fight with anger, but with a fierce, quiet persistence. He learned in those hours that the mind cannot be conquered by force. It can only be held by a heart that refuses to turn away. Slowly, the tension in the rope began to soften. The ox's breathing, once ragged and fierce, grew rhythmic and calm. The little leopard realized that the ox wasn't a monster to be defeated, but a part of him to be understood. He stepped closer, his heart full of compassion for this wild creature. He reached out a small, soft paw and touched the ox's powerful forehead. The ox didn't flinch. It bowed its head. The struggle was over. The wild energy had been transformed into a quiet, focused power. The little leopard led the ox, not with the rope, but with his presence. They walked together through the forest, no longer hunter and prey, but two halves of a whole. As the evening light turned the world to gold, a beautiful sight appeared on the mountain trail. The little leopard was no longer walking. He was sitting peacefully on the back of the ox. He pulled a small bamboo flute from his robe and began to play a melody that was as old as the mountains themselves. The music drifted through the valleys, carrying a message of pure joy. There was no more effort, no more searching, and no more fear. He didn't need to guide the ox anymore. The ox knew the way home instinctively. They moved as one. In this moment, the little leopard realized that the seeker and the goal were the same thing. The peace he had been looking for wasn't at the end of the path, it was the path itself. When they reached the gate of his small temple, the ox began to fade. It became light, then mist, and then it was gone. The little leopard sat alone in the moonlight, but he didn't feel lonely. He realized that the ox was just a tool to bring him back to his own heart. Then, even the little leopard seemed to disappear. He felt himself becoming the wind, the trees, and the silent moon above. There was no me and the world. There was only the great silence. He sat in the center of a perfect circle of light, a state of pure being where words could not reach. He was the river, he was the stone, and he was the sky. But the story does not end in the silence of the mountain. The little leopard stood up, his robe worn, but his spirit shining like a diamond. He did not stay in his cave to hide his wisdom. Instead, he walked down the mountain and entered the busy village marketplace. He was the same leopard, but he was completely different. He carried a jug of water for an old man. He shared a laugh with a lonely child. He sat with those who were sad and simply listened. As the little leopard walked through the village, he finally understood the true secret of the ox. True wisdom is not about escaping the world or living in a cave of silence. It is not about reaching a place where nothing ever bothers you. True wisdom is finding the strength to tame your own wild thoughts, and then using that strength to help others. The ox was never a beast to be killed. It was the energy of life itself. And the little leopard realized that he didn't need the mountain to be holy. He could find the sacred while helping a neighbor, while sharing a meal, or while simply walking through the mud. We do not seek peace to leave the world behind. We seek peace so that we can finally, truly enter it.